Well, all right. Welcome back, everybody. Three guys, one
All
music.
right.
I am Jamie. I'm here with Mike and Grant. What's up, guys?
Hello, people.
Hello.
All right. You guys having a good weekend so far?
Oh yeah,
It's nice weather today.
yeah.
Perfect day.
We had some really nice weather
yeah.
in New England earlier. This weekend, not so great. But yeah, it's been
Yeah,
nice.
yesterday was a bust. We had rainstorms yesterday.
I was in a mad dash to get the yard work done before it rained, and it didn't rain for the longest time. I'm like, well, at least the work's done, and then the sky fell out.
Mhm.
It's like, wow, just in
It literally
plenty of time, but
fell
yeah,
out. Yeah.
I'm glad I got it done. So
Yeah, we got up to 80 degrees Thursday for the first
Wow.
time.
yeah,
That's the warmest weather we've definitely had up here. But it's back in the 50s today. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a new area near the marina that just blew me away yesterday. I dropped the bass off to have it set up and intonated, and I just ran into a new area that just is really, really nice. Elevated my whole opinion. Not that it was negative. I really like the area that I'm in, but I'm out on an island currently living, which is very nice. But yeah, it's a nice community around here. Some beautiful scenery.
Yeah, I looked
Nice
it up.
folks.
It looks nice.
Nice folks. Yeah,
I Google Earthed it. It's nice.
it is nice. All right. So we'll talk about what we've been listening to, and then we'll get into our topic. Today, we're going to talk about the origin of the show, how things came to be, and kind of, there's a couple of, waters that sort of have been interesting to tread. It's been a learning process. I think we've come a long way since we started, but
We got our powers.
yeah. But I'll go first on what we've been listening to. I've been listening to all new things, which is unusual for me, very unusual.
Wow.
But we had, I would say, in the last week, a couple of people that I work with turned me on to some artists that really have enjoyed a lot. And I found one of them. But been listening to a band, I guess a duo, but it's a band called the Teskey Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, so good. I had never heard of them, and they've been around for a long time. My loss.
You shared that
Really,
link.
really good.
I hadn't heard of them either.
Oh, very, very good. Very Otis Redding, I would say.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of that. And there's an artist named Kay Wright who has kind of an Amy Winehouse thing that I'm not so much into, but she has this trio that's very acoustic. And it's called Trio Sessions. She has 2 EPs on iTunes that I bought. And I had only heard the Amy Winehouse stuff, which is fantastic. She's a really, really good singer, and her band is great. Really fine musicians, but it's just not my thing. I kind of feel like I've heard that before, and I don't want to revisit it. But the Trio Sessions is really, really great. I highly recommend people check that out. I've listened to it a lot. It's really, really good.
What's the name again?
Kay Wright.
Kay Wright. Okay.
Yeah. But Trio
Kay?
Sessions is the
Or KAY.
KAY. Yeah. And a band called Palace. I've never heard of. There were 2. I think they have multiple recordings, but I bought 2 EPs. One was called Lost in the Night. It's really, really good. It's really strong songwriting from all these. I really, really like the performances, but the songwriting on Palace is really, really good. And I've been listening finally to First Aid Kit, which is not brand new, but I thought I would save that for last. It's turning some people on to First Aid Kit the other night, and they said, "Oh, I've heard that before." I was like, "Yeah, you've heard it because I've been playing it on my playlist."
They should know it because of where they work.
Yeah. It's a prerequisite. Right?
Yeah. You got to know about your first aid kits. Come on now.
I get it. That's very witty. I was like, "What?" Oh, yeah.
Here, I'll wait.
Yeah. They weren't really familiar with them, but I told them it was a 2 sisters from Sweden, but they really have that country thing.
Sweden?
Yeah. So yeah, I recommend listening to First Aid Kit if you're not familiar with them. Really, really good stuff, in my opinion. But that's what I've been listening to. How about you guys?
Nice.
Cool.
I've been listening to more Roy Haynes his first 4 albums, which is they're more swing oriented, especially the first 2 because he started in the 50s, and just such phenomenal playing, even for the modern era. You listen to that recorded how many years ago? I mean, and it's just like the playing is not dated. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just so you can still learn from it and still go, wow, that's still awesome. And then the dichotomous other side, the band Hum from Chicago. It was kind of had a couple hits in the 90s, but a lot of people didn't know them. They're what do you call it? They're kind of a shoegazer band, heavy, not sludge, but low tones and not real grandiose type vocals or whatever, but very very cool if you're into that type of music.
That sounds vaguely familiar. With
their big hit was what's the name of it? It was in my head and it went. The album was So You'd Prefer an Astronaut, and what was the name? I can't. What was this song? Was it called Stars?
I can't help you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I can't
look that up.
I feel like an idiot now because I'm like I listened to it like 3 times this week and I'm like, oh, that's why we're doing it early. That I messed myself up by suggesting us to do this in the daytime. It's daytime, folks. We normally do it at night, and so everything's all wishy-washy. It's my fault. My bad.
So you say.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Mike?
I've really tried to listen to Mastodon this week. So I've got a show coming up, and I want to, I like Mastodon. I'm a fan, not a big fan, so I'm not as familiar with their songs as I want to be, but good stuff. I don't have a lot of time, not the kind of music I can listen to at the office. So listen to Air, the French duo, again. Just been that kind of week where just want something mellow in the background.
Right.
What else have I been listening to? Let me check out my list.
Well, I will say while you're looking for that, I will give you some suggestions. I can't listen to everything by Mastodon, but I do have several tracks that I think is the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
That I've got on a playlist that I think are some of their best.
Their first couple of albums, several were pretty consistent.
I am a fan of. I don't like any of the records from top to bottom, but they have 1 or 2 tracks on all the records, and I just have a playlist of my favorites. But I think it's the best of the best. But Leviathan might be from top to bottom their best record. But
that's probably the only one I'm actually familiar with.
Yeah,
but the rest I'm kind of diving into.
I never listened to that record though.
I wonder what they're going to sound like without Brent.
Oh yeah, who's playing guitar for him? Is Ben Eller still playing with him?
I need to look that up. I'm not even sure.
They haven't released anything new since he left, so I'm just curious what the writing will sound like now.
Oh, the writing, yeah. Well, live, it'd be interesting to see Ben Eller. I mean, he's a great guitar player, but he filled in for him right after Brett Hines left. But anyway, continue with your list.
Anyway, listen to a little bit of Taj Mahal. Classic stuff. Can't do better than Taj Mahal. It's just that electric blues. When you're in the mood, that's a good one to seek out. In Japan, listen to them for a couple days. Just looking at the catalog again, and that's about it. Air, Japan, Taj Mahal, a little bit of Mastodon, mixing it up a bit.
Oh, that's a nice variety there. Okay, well, we'll get into our topic here. This is I'm going to try to be as concise as possible. But that is not likely. But
good luck.
I'll try.
Good luck, my son. Good luck, my son.
I'll try. But basically, I think about 3.5 years ago, I came up with an idea for something along these lines, but not exactly. And I remember reaching out to several of my musician friends, you two included, and several other people. And I decided to call it Music on the Brain. I thought that was a good name. And I commissioned another friend of ours, Brent Whittington, to design a logo, or we designed it together. But I was really happy with it. So, but I remember thinking about how difficult this was going to do, and I had no idea how to do it. So I just kind of left it on the back burner and didn't really think about it too much. I thought, well, I don't know when I'll be able to do this, or how easy this is going to be to do. And then a couple of years passed. Last January of 24, a friend of mine, a very good friend, Greg Gibbs, said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing something. What do you think about us doing some sort of YouTube channel of some sort?" And I thought, it's so funny you say that. I have an idea for a show, but I have kind of just not explored it. And I told him what the name was and showed him the design. I had a handful of t-shirts made up, and we just decided to go ahead and try to do it. And Greg was initially a part of this, and I called Mike, got in touch with Mike and said, "Mike," I said, "what do you think about doing this? I really think you would be great. I'd love to have you." Mike and I have known each other a long time. We played in band together, and we know how each other are. And the history you have with an individual, you can put up with their eccentricities,
idiosyncrasies.
Yeah. And
I'm tolerable.
Yeah. No. I mean, you're tolerable of me.
What's your best trait? I'm tolerable.
But I know what his
tolerable.
taste is, and I know there's just a comfort there. So he said, "Yeah, let's think about it." We were originally going to try to write some songs together, and that was more difficult than I thought it would be. But Mike is very talented with that. But anyway, we decided to go ahead and try to do this. So we got together. I was in the upper Midwest last year when we started this, and we just did several run-throughs. We had the name Music on the Brain, and it was sort of like, let's see how to do this. Mike, do you have any memories of how this kind of unfolded? I have plenty more to say, but I'm just curious. I don't want to just dominate everything, the history, but at this point, you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Do you?
It's funny when we first started.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of nervous going into it, as I still am. But it's funny remembering back then. I seemed very casual about it. It's like, let's do, but because we were experimenting. We recorded 3-4 episodes before we actually put something up.
Maybe more.
Be viewed. Yeah. And it was not really fumbling around in the dark. It was just finding our groove. I think we had the right vibe talking about music, because it's easy for us to do. Doing it in front of a microphone and camera is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
You think it sounds easy, talk about what you know, what you love, but sitting down and actually doing it, it's kind of, is it my turn? Did I say the right thing? Did I say the correct thing? So it's interesting looking back retrospectively. It seemed easier at the time. Now it's like, I feel, there's more pressure I put on myself to be and seem professional about it. But at the time, it seemed, it's pretty laid back, and I just went with the flow. But it developed pretty quickly, I think, especially once Grant came along. Things kind of fell into place. And I think we really got a good vibe going there from the start.
Yeah, my recollection is that we were trying to see what kind of content that we would present.
Yeah.
Like Mike mentioned, that we know a lot about music. We know the history of music, and that is an important part of the show. You have to have detailed information to share, and it's just part of it. And bear with me just a moment.
And got that song title.
And it's, once we want to be able to be as casual as possible. I want this to be totally unscripted, which it is, and we're just kind of having a conversation. So to be able to not prepare for things in an extreme way, I kind of prefer. I want to know kind of how I'm going to approach it when we decide on the topic, but I want it to be very casual and conversation like, and that feels more natural to me. So that was my idea of how we would approach this. So we did a handful of episodes. We taped them and just kind of felt it out and see what it was like. And Greg decided that it wasn't really for him. He decided to step down. But I just want to say, and I've told him in person many times, that I really, really don't know if this would have happened without his enthusiasm at the time and encouragement. And he was a part of the initial days, the start of this. And I've always been appreciative of that. And I just want to say that. And we contacted Grant. I want to say we are right at the 1-year anniversary. I don't recall the exact day, but it was last May. So we're right there at a year anniversary of Grant being a part of this. So the first episode that we did publish, Grant was on it. And at the time we were using Google Meet, which was
not that great.
Not wonderful. But we were figuring this out as we go along. I didn't know anybody to ask advice. And it was really just do it the best you can. And I think we made rapid progress within the first couple of months. To be able to post onto the audio version was huge for me because I was really thinking that I didn't want to be just YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was really a big accomplishment whenever I was able to do that. And it was trial and error. And so we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Podbean, and iHeart, and as well as YouTube, of course. But it's we are still trying to learn what we how we're going to raise our game. We're always thinking about that. But whenever we had Grant come on board, I really do think that we knew immediately how far deep we could go. And is your recollection of that, Grant? I remember calling you and talking to you.
Yeah, you had called me years ago as well when you had the initial idea, and then I just thought, well, I guess he's not going to do it, or haven't heard from him in a while. And not that we weren't in contact, but you just didn't bring it up again. And then you told me what was going on, and I was like, yeah, I can try and see if I can. I was apprehensive at first because like y'all were saying, it's easy to do.
The technical side is challenging.
On a lark, you're like, oh, let's do this, and you think, oh, yeah, no big deal. But it's responsibility of, you don't want to get up there and sound like an idiot, which I have sometimes, and forget stuff, which I have sometimes. But I remember saying, there's the deep dive on certain musical things you haven't thought about in years because you're just not in that same headspace. Right. And I was more worried that I would be like a deer in the headlights sometimes, and like but that only maybe once. But if you can't see my eyes, you don't know I'm a deer in the headlights. So
I think that's what makes it interesting for us to have a conversation. We are just three friends talking about our memories and our experiences and how we think about certain music. And I think there's value in that. I don't want it to be so scripted and mechanical that people think, well, they're just going through facts. I'm not interested in that. I do have a good memory for dates and minutia. That's interesting to me. I try to share those when relevant.
His minutia may startle you.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have put that there. Yeah. But, we have been largely successful. I want to say this is our 50th episode. That's another reason why I wanted to do this week. Just as a, hats off to us. It's an accomplishment.
Oh yeah, the
really
commitment definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to make time to do this.
Yeah.
And editing these takes time. Posting these takes time. It's not something that just happens. You have to devote a certain amount of time. And I was talking to somebody in my workplace about, oh, you should go check out this concert event. And I was like, I don't have time. I'd love to, but I have to make time. There's a certain amount of time that I have to devote to the podcast, and we have had t-shirts. I'm wearing one, printed up, but it's a different thing about trying to sell these. It's a process, and we still are working toward that goal. It'd be great if we could, whenever we get to that point. I'm just going to say when, but there's a certain amount of time and commitment you have to give to a project. And I read something recently, and I may have shared this with both of you, that you really need to be prepared to devote without reward or without the need for reward for maybe 2 to 4 years. And that's quite a commitment, and amazing things may happen after that. There's no guarantee, of course, but, you have to figure out, it takes time. It takes a band a while to become who they are and figure out. But I do want to also touch on how we came up with the current name. This is somewhat interesting to me. Any more comments you have before I go into that little?
No,
go ahead.
So.
All right.
You're doing a fine job.
Okay. So we posted our first episode, and I want to say the next day I was looking it up. I wanted to see. I was like, oh, okay. Next day I typed in the name, and I was like, oh my goodness. There was another YouTube channel with that name.
And they only got one podcast, and they have never gotten back to me. I reached out to them multiple times.
Yeah.
They never responded.
One episode. Yeah. And this would have been a year and a half prior, I want to say, or maybe 2 years prior. And the fact that I came up with a name, and by all accounts, there wasn't another one that existed prior to that, which we discovered pretty quickly how hard it is to come up with a name. We have worked behind the scenes. We have, I would say, in a friendly way, argued and disagreed,
toiled incessantly.
We have spent a lot of time on trying to come up with a name,
and it may change yet again.
I don't think so at this point. I think I really think that even though
we should change it every year.
I'll get into how we came up with the name in a moment, but fairly recently, Mike convinced me finally.
What'd you do?
And I never said this to you, Mike, but you did finally convince me that just let it be. And you didn't put it that way, but it is a name that's reminiscent of something, 20 years old or something.
Yeah, you got to be a certain age to get it.
Yeah. So. But the name is what it is. And whether you like the name or not, this is who we are. We're three guys, one music. And it's going to stay that way, I think. I think at this point we are beyond the point of changing the name.
Well, there are a lot of bands that don't like their name. They just came up with it on a whim, and then they got stuck with it, and then they're like, well, it is what it is.
Well, last year, once, and Grant and Mike will agree with this statement, I'm sure, I was stressed out. I felt like we had devoted so much time and energy.
Misstatement.
Well, Grant, you'd only been a part of that
Yeah, you're right.
I
Yeah.
want to say one episode, Mike and I had spent weeks prior to that trying to develop this, and that was the last thing I thought I'd have to worry about. It's a lot to try to do the behind the scenes thing. It's
Oh,
just
Yeah.
you don't think about it all the time, but it's stressful. And
That's why we
plus,
allow you to do it.
well, plus I'd already had Brent. I'd already
Yeah.
commissioned him. I'd already put money up, fairly significant amount of money, not just nothing, to do the name and the design. I thought, oh my goodness, so what are we going to do here? It stressed me out. I thought, we can't use that name. We can't contact this person. I just thought it was a bad idea to continue, even though we weren't able to contact them, or they weren't reaching out to us or returning our requests for whatever conversation. I thought this is a mistake to try to go forward and potentially a year down the road run into a problem. That'd be worse. So we had to come up with a name, and it's not easy. And I can remember Saturday a year ago driving up to Canada just on a day drive. Went to Saskatchewan, I went to Manitoba, went up to Winnipeg, and just literally drove for like 13 hours. Drove all day long, coming up with every possible name I could.
It was so stressful. He thought about being an expat.
I thought about what?
Being an expat. I'm leaving the country. This is so
no.
stressful. I'm becoming Canadian.
Oh no. Yeah. I was close enough to Canada that it's very cathartic for me to be in the car.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love driving.
For many people it's not, but for me it's very therapeutic, and I can think clearly. And it was an opportunity for me just to try to think and see what names. And I texted you guys, I'm sure,
incessantly
all day. It was great.
But what names I thought were pretty good. We could not agree on anything. And I made a decision pretty early on that even though the germ of this was mine, that's not the way I want this to be. I want this to be a democracy. This is a teamwork, team effort. And that's the only way that I would want to do this. That's the best approach, in my opinion. And we've done it that way from the beginning. But it's well, for the most part,
just messing with you.
But yeah, we've literally, I think we had already taped the episode, apparently, that became, I can't quite remember how that worked out. We had an episode that I posted, the following episode, with the new name. And something that we had discussed, Grant, I think you came up with a version of it. And I can't remember what that exactly was, but it was not exactly that. But I had to make a decision to decide on what it would be. And but all three of us talked about it, and we all bandied back and forth, and it was like, ooh, this is just a struggle. The least fun part of this whole thing has been trying to come up with a name and agree on a name. It's been the most unfun part of this. And it's stressful, because we're all passionate about it. We want to take this as seriously as we can, but there's effort required to do this. And we want this to be as good as it can be, but
we want to do our best for you.
Yes. But anyway, we decided on 3 Guys, 1 Music, and I never really cared for the name, if I'm honest, but it has grown on me. And I would say after some nudging on my part to both the guys, I just decided that in one of our most recent back and forth, Mike said something to me. It's like, I forget what you said exactly, but you kind of convinced me eventually that this is just the name. We should just embrace it, and it is what it is.
Where was I in this conversation?
I believe you were.
Was I in this conversation?
I don't know if you were in the conversation, but I believe you were in the group text.
Okay.
I don't think this was just.
I don't remember Michael saying anything cathartic or
I remember
angelic
when it happened.
to
I
convince
don't really
you.
remember.
I don't remember what he said. Yeah, I have to go back.
I don't remember.
That's a lot of text.
That's a lot of texts.
A lot of text, yes. We put quite a bit of effort into this, trying to. So the fact that we changed the name, we had to come up with a new logo. That was another stressful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually we talked about how we were going to approach this. This is not just something that falls out of the sky. You have to have an idea. So we talked about I don't remember who it was, but I remember thinking the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil idea was because three guys. I thought that's where the germ of that came from for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not the idea, but that's where I remember it playing a part in it. And I had a designer in North Dakota help me with this, and I came up with sort of close to what this is, but she kind of molded it and made it what it is. And we agreed that it's mine. She didn't charge me anything for it. I asked her, I said, I need to own this. So whatever release you need to give me, she's like, this is yours. So, it's our design. And Mike and Grant are co-owners of this. We decided last year that we just have it be a team effort.
Finally, I've made it.
But
yeah,
I am very happy with the design of it. And our friend Brent Whittington has played a hand in modifying it. But we really haven't ended up using that design because the design for the t-shirts was already in place. And what you're seeing in the top right-hand corner there already existed, or my right hand, upper right hand. And it just didn't make sense to utilize Brent's additions, but I paid him for his time, and I'm very appreciative of him being open to that. And he's always very helpful and offers great advice. But we've just kind of continued to use that initial design out of ease of use. So I've been pretty happy with the design of it. And for those who have not subscribed, please subscribe. We appreciate it.
Yeah, the design was easy to agree on because it was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah,
easier than the name.
Yeah, I do think it's a good design. I think it looks great on the shirt. You don't need the name. It just kind of works for me. And I love sharing it. I tell as many people about it. I was like, hey, I've got a podcast. I'd love you to check it out. I tell as many people as I possibly can, wherever I'm at, and with no shame. You have to self-promote. If they don't like it, that's fine. But I tell everybody that I possibly can about the podcast. And I hope that you that are listeners will do the same. Share our podcast with anybody that's willing to listen, that you think loves music and loves hearing about three guys talk about it.
Share with more so we can share with you.
So do you guys have any memories that you would like to kind of relay in addition to what I've said?
Well, just to appreciate, I think we've got a good team here.
Yeah.
It's, like you said, we've all three grown up musically together,
Right.
Gone our different ways, different projects. And,
Right.
Grant was the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
We know each other. We have an idea of each other's musical taste, which is eclectic all around the board. And it's fun to get here every week and discover something new about what you think of music or what Grant thinks of music.
Yeah.
Or what you
get our different opinions. I got no opinion. There's nothing new over here. But
damnable lie, sir.
Yeah, it's great to even when you work with someone as we've done together in the past, we still have different ideas, different approaches to music. And it's a lot of fun to get a different view and different information. I discover things every week in our conversations. So it's a lot of fun.
What is funny that Mike and I, all friends on social media, but really hadn't interacted. Mike and I have not seen each other in person, or Grant for that matter. I don't know how many years so we've been in the same room.
Yeah, I've not seen Michael in so long.
Yeah. I think it's probably been, I get it. I don't know the last time we saw each other, Mike, honestly.
You saw him before you saw him. It's been probably.
I've seen you more recently, Grant.
Me?
Yeah. More recently than Mike.
Okay.
Yeah. Saw you and Tracy.
Yeah. When you were at the hotel. Yeah.
20 years ago or so.
That's what I was thinking. That's probably the last time I saw you.
Yeah. So it's hard whenever we're out trying to make a living and we're living our life, but this makes it possible for us to connect. But I would say that the fact that we hadn't had any real interaction, there was some, now that we're at completely at comfort and at ease, it wasn't like that. Mike and I hadn't done this like back and forth. I remember the first couple of times we did that, there was some discomfort. It was new.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly how it was going to go. Mike didn't know how it was going to go. We were just really trying this. And this is the part of the discovery process that is a little scary. It's interesting.
I knew it was going to be a train wreck. So I said, I'm in. I love train wrecks. Let's go.
I want to be part of that.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
No, but I think that I was just thinking that the fact that we have done this for a year and hopefully many years to come, we have shared an experience that I don't know any other person that I don't personally know anybody else that I've done that has done this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know plenty of people, but I don't interact with anybody else that's done it.
I don't know any podcast people.
Not the way we are trying to do it. We still have many things to learn. We have many things to learn, and hopefully some great things lie ahead. And we have ideas for a lot of things that we want to do to improve the show. But there is a certain amount of time and effort that it takes to get things to a certain way. And we don't have an editor. I do everything behind the scenes, and I do the best I can.
You're doing a fine job, Jamie.
But it would be great if we had the budget. That's why you need to like and subscribe. Everybody possible. So it would be wonderful if we could get things in a little bit more. We just always want to try to up the game. But we have to be able to do these things. For those, I won't go into detail, but I travel a lot for my job. I'm rarely in the same state for more than 6 months out of the year. Mike and Grant are in the same place. It does make it a little easier, I would imagine.
We're here on the couch all the time.
Yeah, we just stay right here.
But
turn on the camera. We're here.
Well, when you think about these things, I discussed this yesterday with someone who was helping me with my little laptop studio. I have to move everything. You guys have everything in place. You don't really have to think about that. I have to move and then hook everything back up, and it's stressful. It takes time. It takes some commitment to try to get things a certain way. And I don't enjoy that part of it. Trying to make time. I would say that you two have more of a traditional work week. I do not.
Yeah.
It's a challenge to try sometimes to make time where all three of us, and I just want to say I appreciate you both being very flexible, because you have to be to work around my schedule. You have to be. But we have been largely successful. I think we have missed very few weeks within the last year, maybe 2 weeks. I think hence the fact this is the 50th episode. So we've been pretty successful at trying to make time to do it. And we definitely appreciate everybody listening and watching this last year. It really means a lot to us. And, we just hope to keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
So
good to think of our humble beginnings, where I was just sitting in a leather chair, and now, I mean, used to have Buddha behind us, but now we got this big ass dictionary and a Lego boat. So
bring back Buddha.
things keep getting bigger and better.
Bring back Buddha
I'll
campaign.
put Buddha on the boat.
It really is. It really
Okay.
is amazing to think about the beginning, the audio and the video quality. What we did the first those episodes. Fortunately, you cannot. The public does not have access to anymore. I have made those private.
The first episode, I opened my laptop, which is about as old as this podcast. I just got it, and I used the camera and the microphone on board.
Yeah,
and then we experimented with little Microsoft cameras, add-on cameras, and other microphones before I pulled this monster out, and it was an experiment from the start, trying to figure out what would work best.
Well, I believe that I had an extra interface that I sent you. Are you still using that interface?
Yeah, still using it.
Sounds good. Yeah. I have actually used for the last year, which I've been very happy with. I don't use an interface. I go directly into the computer with this Shure USB mic, and I've been very happy with it. It's super simple. I never have to think about it.
That
Works
microphone
wonderful.
sounds great, even for being upside down.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, I like it upside down.
That's what she said.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Well, I think we'll leave it with that, unless you guys have any final thoughts. We appreciate you guys checking in. It's a little bit of a shorter episode this week, but we just thought we would touch on our humble beginnings, and we really appreciate everybody checking in with us. But any final thoughts, guys?
Just waiting for the group hug once the camera goes off.
Well, mentally.
We don't talk about backstage. That's what the rule. That took Joey's rule. We don't talk about backstage.
Well, all right, guys. Thanks everybody for checking in. We appreciate it very much. Take care. Please like and subscribe for the third time.
Be well.
Take it easy.
Stop.
That's how I'm gonna edit.
Yeah, that's great. Leave it.
It's gonna be our thumbnail.
Yeah, look at the thumbnail.
I might do that.
We could have a different thumbnail every week. I could start bringing props like